Please welcome Hotelbeds Managing Director Carlos Munoz in conversation with Skift Senior Travel Tech Editor Sean O'Neill.
Hello, Carlos. Thank you for joining us today. We're really grateful this afternoon.
Okay, it's my pleasure, Sean. Thank you.
So Hotelbeds, more than 180,000 hotels around the world use Hotelbeds to reach more than 60,000 demand partners, online travel agencies, tour operators, airline websites. So you, Carlos, as a managing director at Hotelbeds, you get this big picture of what's happening in Europe right now. And one of the themes of Skift Forum Europe is what the pace of the recovery is. So where are you seeing demand recover right now, Carlos?
Well, I think we have been during all this process since COVID started through three different phases. No, I think the first phase was, I would say, until the end of March, in which everyone was expecting like a V-shaped recovery, a little bit like being on denial, I would say, of the real situation. And then during April and May, I think the situation was much more clear, about the length and the depth of this. And we went a little bit, all the industry, a little bit extreme in the negative side, and becoming really, really very pessimistic, about the situation and the impact in the not only in the short and medium term, but also in the long term, So that was April and May. And then what I see now in June is that as the countries they start to open back again, and limiting or lifting restrictions, and there is some business, some flights, some domestic, the industry is becoming a bit more positive, a bit more balanced, not extremely positive, but a bit more balanced, So what I see is that this summer will be a difficult one, will not be normal, but not as bad as expected like 1-2 months ago. Okay, so a bit better than this. And then we'll start seeing recovery next winter and the following year, 2021, and still an line. The full recovery we will not see most probably until the end of 2022 or early 2023. So that's the situation. So that's our expectations. That's our expectations at this moment. Okay.
That's very helpful, I think, for people in the audience. Everyone's trying to get a sense as attendees what the rhythm is going to be. One of the things that have, for hoteliers going into the crisis, there was a certain mix of how many rates they have at flexible and how many were non-refundable. And a lot of the rates that go through Hotelbeds, a significant number are non-refundable. Do you feel like hoteliers, as they come out of the crisis and looking ahead, are going to adjust the shift in how much is flexible and how much are non-refundable?
I think this is very linked to the shape of the recovery. I think during this recovery, will be very, very important to look at the data. Data analytics is going to become extremely, extremely important, and to have a look to what the data tell us, and to act accordingly will be extremely important. So what the data tell us, what we see is that domestic market is the first recovering by far, and we see a relatively fast recovery in some markets with the domestic. So, and the markets that they got the biggest size in terms of domestic, like the US, like China, these are the countries that they are recovering faster, is that the domestic market is very last minute, okay? So in the case, for example, in the case of China, 40% of the bookings, they are for the same day, which is amazing, and then in the case of the US, is almost 20% they are for the same day. So obviously this means certain, let's say, adjustments in the way the hoteliers they are promoting and the intermediaries they are promoting in the marketplace. Okay, so that's the second. And when talking about international, and there is international business out there, is everything is very long lead times. More than 6 months is more than 50% of the international business, because obviously in the short term, people is still afraid of traveling abroad. No, so if you want to promote your hotels for the international market, you are a hotel, let's say in Spain, and you want to capture UK market, don't promote for the coming 4 weeks. Let's promote for January 21 onwards. Okay, so this is the type of things that they need to put in place. No? So data analytics extremely important. safety protocols to give comfort to the customers. That
so let's let Carlos. I'll jump in there. So you talk about safety protocols now. And a few weeks ago, Hotelbeds debuted its new Safe Stay initiative. So if for booking through the booking engine or through the APIs, there's this new distribution filter. Can you tell people a little bit about what that effort is?
Okay, what we see is, as commented, this will be critical up until we'll have a vaccine in place, no? So the customers, they need this comfort. So what we are doing is we are taking all the, let's say, standards and processes that different players they are building to gain this confidence from the customers, and we are putting this in the hands of our customers, in the hands of B2B customers, no? So operators, travel agencies, etc. So at the moment, what we've got is more than 44 different certifications that they are based on the World Travel and Tourism Council, protocols. And these 44 certifications, they come mainly either for hotel chains or from countries or associations, okay? And this applies to hotels, but also applies to ancillaries, to transfers, to activities in destinations, to car rental, etc. Okay, so that will be important. What we are doing here is facilitating the access to this information by the end consumer. Okay, so it's
that makes up. I'm glad you mentioned the ancillaries because I imagine airport transfers and stuff is something that a lot of consumers and both the hotels will want to be able to signal what's available. Do you think the pandemic, looking sort of a little more big picture, is going to sort of change the balance in terms of distribution tech companies? Do you feel like it's going to leave some players stronger or weaker?
Yes, I mean the answer is yes, but there are some surprises here, at least in the data that we got. No, so everyone is talking about the big players gaining share and volume, and that I think will be a reality. Big OTAs they have an advantage in this situation. But also what we see now is for the countries in which the travel agencies, the high street travel agencies, they are reopening. Okay, we're talking about China, we're talking about the States, we're talking about Germany. In those countries, the high street travel agencies, which are by nature offline business, they're also gaining share. And the reason why is because the end consumer, they need advice. They need to understand if they are planning to travel from Germany into Spain. They need to understand if the hotel will have the buffet, if the beach will be open or not. They need to understand the protocols, what will happen in the swimming pool. So all this information, I think the travel agencies, they are in a unique position to give this information to the end consumer. So the answer is yes. I think some will not that big players will have an advantage, but also there are opportunities for smaller players like travel agencies.
Okay, that's kind of helpful, I believe. So I think one of the things that happened, you mentioned the crisis from last time, in the great financial crisis, rate parity became an issue because hotels, especially independent hotels and small regional chains, they became more dependent on the big online travel aggregators for help. But then issues of rate parity came up. And in the past year or so, Hotelbeds has cared a lot about that. Do you have any sense of how you think rate parity might change in the term going forward because of this?
Well, I think rate parity and let's say control and distribution by the hotels is here to stay. Having said that, I think some hotels during COVID they are relaxing their controls to gain volumes. But still the hotels they keep the rate structure with different channels. So they got the opaque rates for the closed channel, which is a discounted rate. And they got the open rates, for the hotel only, which is in direct competition with the direct channel. So even if in the short term we'll see some hotels, not all, but some hotels relaxing some of the, let's say, control distribution and rate parity, in the medium and long term, this is here to stay, and will come back strongly as in the past, because it's part of the fundamental strategy of the hoteliers. And in here, I have to say, Hotelbeds, we have built, I will say, the more robust model of our industry with internal processes and also with external partnerships like the one that we announced with Gain a few months ago. Okay.
And so the partnership with RateGain, for people who may have missed it, you partly helped giving a lot of information in terms of the coronavirus and how to anticipate when demand is going to come back. That's what you're referring to, right, Carlos?
No, in the case of RateGain is information. I mean, RateGain is scanning the market and looking for, let's say, non-compliance with rate integrity, no, and helping the hotels to make sure that the distribution rules they are respected, no. So I think the other element is, in terms of the recovery, what we are making use of is all our data, which is huge data in terms of requests, bookings, from worldwide during the COVID, to understand trends in the demand, and giving this information to the hoteliers and also to our customers for them to take advantage of this situation when the demand will come back. And for example, we see the trends in China, we see the trends in the US, early recovery markets, and we are going to hoteliers in Italy or in the UK and informing them about how will be the shape of the recovery for them to get ready for the future.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that. One thing I'm sort of wondering is, in Spain, the Spanish government had a €4 billion money set aside in order to help recover tourism. And some of that money, several €100 million, is for trying to help with efforts in digitization. Is there anything that you feel like you hope the hotel sector is able to do more in terms of digitization? Some things that might come to mind are, on the payments, the B2B side of payments. It's not the sexiest topic in the world, but through this whole crisis, it's kind of been a pain point. And I know that Hotelbeds in the past month or so, you've joined this initiative from the Open Travel Alliance to try to help see if the industry with a whole bunch of other industry partners can try to solve the payments pain points. But is there anything, not to put words in your mouth, but is there anything in terms of how you see the industry sort of doing more in digitizations being sped up because of the pandemic?
Not necessarily in terms of the payments, which is part of the, let's say, of the solution that we need to fix in our industry. I think is in operations. When talking about one of the most painful processes, which is linked to the health and safety now in the COVID, let's say, era, is the check-in and check-out. No. So this is a process in which you got like the touch points, and then with the hotel, with the employees of the establishment. So I think automating and digitalizing this process of check-in, check-out, automating and digitalizing the process in the restaurants of the hotels, this will play a significant role in terms of the investments for digitalization in the hotels, While the distribution is widely digitalized at the moment, for most of the hotels, and they need to continue investing. But I will say, I mean, the other areas, which is more about operations, they are behind distribution in terms of digital endorsement. Okay, and okay.
Yeah, that makes sense. Is there anything else sort of big picture about how you see the shape of travel sort of unfolding over the next year or so as a result of all the dynamics that are in play that we might not have touched on?
Yeah, I think there are two elements that I would like to highlight. No? The number one is, as a result of this COVID-19, let's say, situation, the reputation of the companies is going to play a massive role. What we have seen during the past few months, and we'll continue seeing in the coming months, is plenty of businesses that they are disappointing their customers, either because they don't deliver service, they don't answer the phone, they don't implement the massive cancellations and modifications that the customers have been asking for because of force majeure, not supporting on that front, or because simply they are not paying, and they cannot pay, So will be extremely important the role of reputation and building a stronger partnership as a result of this COVID-19. And everyone, suppliers, customers, and consumers, they are looking for companies that they can trust, that they will deliver the volumes, they will deliver the service, and they will pay, So, and in here, I think we are a strong player, And this is number one, reputation. And the other I would like to highlight is the value creation, In the past few years, we have seen plenty of companies, particularly in the intermediary space, in our space, that they were not really creating value. Okay, they were acting as a pure reseller, okay? And they didn't have proper, let's say, direct contracting. They didn't have proper new customers, and they were just in the middle, okay, creating complexity. So this COVID-19 situation is going to bring simplification of the marketplace, and everyone will be looking for simplicity to build lean, let's say, operational setups, and therefore the players that will not be able to create value, I think they will not make it, you know, they will not cope with the situation. So these are the two main elements that I would like to highlight out of this COVID-19.
Carlos, we've already talked at Skift in our reporting about, you know, the great liquidity and cash balance and great strong position that Hotelbeds is in, so we haven't needed to touch on that here. Thank you so much, Carlos, for joining us this afternoon. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Sean. Okay, my pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.